Howdy guitar enthusiasts of every stripe and description. It's Steve, the Guitar Nut, and I'm back as promised to give you an unboxing of the CHIBSON Les Paul that I ordered. Let's just say I really sincerely hope that it's a much more positive experience than I had in the last episode with the CHICKENBACKER. I would say it couldn't be worse, but if 50 years of living has taught me anything, you never say it couldn't be worse. So, oh, the stories I could tell, and some I may eventually, or just wait for the book. So yeah, let me give you a little bit of background here. Roughly a week after I ordered the CHIBSON, the CHICKENBACKER, sorry, I decided to order a CHIBSON. I'd heard rumors that these Chinese factories were actually getting really good at cloning Les Pauls, having had, you know, the last 12 to 15 years to work on it, and taking suggestions and comments and no doubt complaints from their customers. And they've, from what I understand, they're supposed to be up to a really frightening standard. Like Gibson has reason to be worried, if I'm to believe what I'm told. So I have a Facebook friend named Jeff, and Jeff is famous for turning other people on to this one particular CHIBSON builder. He owns 6 of their guitars, and he's had, I don't know, maybe a half dozen of his friends order them from the same place, and they always come out, according to him, just impeccable. In fact, I don't believe Jeff owns any guitars anymore that aren't CHIBSONs. I'd have to ask him, but that's the impression I got, and he couldn't be happier. He does, of course, do some changing out of things, you know, hardware, electronics, and whatnot. Some of it just for aesthetic purposes. But as far as the fit and finish, the frets, the actual body and neck builds, he says it can't be beat. So he gave me his contact information, and I contacted the guy. I can tell you his name is Ming, because that's not going to help you find him or not. If I'm not going to post information on how to contact this guy. If someone wanted to reach out to me individually and ask, of course, I could probably turn you on. But anyway, I got a hold of Ming, and I said I'd like to order something custom, and he says that's what I do. And I specifically decided that I wanted a clone of the famous Jeff Beck Oxblood Les Paul. I'll show you a picture of it right here possibly, or here, or might be right here. Here's the guitar with Jeff playing it. Here's an up close and personal shot of the guitar itself. So yeah, it's called Oxblood. It's a dark brown color that actually looks reddish under certain lighting conditions, so hence Oxblood. It was actually a 1954 Les Paul, which of course, if you know anything about Gibson history, it would have had P90 pickups and whatnot. Somebody took it apart. This would have been back in the 60s when they didn't have that much value at all. It was just, you know, a few-year-old used guitar. They routed it out for humbuckers and refinished the gold top to this Oxblood color. And apparently the original owner that did the modifications hated it. And Jeff Beck wound up finding it and falling in love with it and used it on like the Blow by Blow album. It's just kind of iconic. So anyway, I got a hankering for one of those, and I actually found that Gibson had made a reissue of it, pretty authentic reissue. They had one at Carter's Vintage Guitars. I believe it was $8,500, just slightly out of my wheelhouse. So anyway, I asked this Ming character if he could make a copy, and I sent him several pictures, and he got back to me and said, sure, no problem at all. You know, I can do that. And he quoted me a ridiculous price, what I thought was ridiculous. I can just tell you, it was $300 shipping included. And I thought, okay. I had some leftover refund money from what I got comped on the CHICKENBACKER from AliExpress. And I went ahead and just went for it. You know, I had a little bit of money also from a few donations from viewers of the show. And I put that together with some money of my own, and I made the order. And I did get some pictures along the way. Unfortunately, it didn't occur to me to save them as I went. It's very unlike me, but I'm sorry. Anyway, about, I guess, was it 6 weeks it's been? It finally showed up. I couldn't track it because it wasn't showing up properly on the tracking sites. I'm not sure what the problem was, but it obviously, you know, made it here and whatnot. Without any further ado, let's take a look, shall we? I'm as curious as anybody. Let me see here. Oh, try to hide the address here. Don't want you showing up unannounced. Scissors. That'll do. Let's get a look here. Try not to make too much of a mess. Past experience, I've had these things leave little styrofoam balls everywhere. Let's see here. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Got the ubiquitous little package with the crapola cord and the truss rod adjuster. It's a hex key, so of course this won't have the kind of truss rod nut that a Gibson has. I've never seen a copy that did. These work just fine. It's an aesthetic thing, and unless you take off the truss rod cover, you're not going to know anyway. My first impression is that it is not the color that I wanted. It's a cool color. Well, let's just take a look here. Oh, that's cute. You'll get a kick out of this. All right, that's kind of a cool box. Definitely made for a Les Paul. So clearly they do a lot of business in Les Paul copies. All right, so what I was laughing about is you take a look at the headstock here. Apparently this is how they get around the customs issue. Just this little foil sticker, jing pin. That's pretty realistic. Okay, that's mother of pearl. Right off the bat, I can tell you this is wrong. In 1954, the guitar was just called the Les Paul. There was no standard yet. It didn't become a standard till there was a reason, which is to say when they also had a custom, so they needed to differentiate between the two. I'll order a new one of those, a couple of bucks, no big deal. Well, as you can see, it's a deep red color. It's definitely not ox blood, but it's well, it's red. The lighting in here today isn't very good. It probably looks a little darker to you than it actually is, but I'm enjoying the sunlight today. And you can see it's well, maybe you can see it's they've done some aging on it, some relicking, if you will. But it's tasteful and it looks kind of realistic. They've got some simulated weather checking on there. I guess they do that with a razor blade. The body dimensions seem right. It's don't have a scale handy, but if I had to guess, it's somewhere in the, I'm gonna say the 9-pound region. What that is. Little marking back here looks like something got wet. That's kind of odd. The finish is very matte. I didn't expect that. I'm not upset about it or anything, but so actually some nice wood grain flaming in the mahogany on the back here, and it looks to be real mahogany. to be honest, it looks like the entire thing is mahogany rather than having a maple cap. I don't really care, but the color I ordered, you wouldn't be able to see the wood anyway. It should have been a solid brown color. But I mean, I'm not tore up about it. It looks good. Let's see, knobs are very much not gold. Those, I'll change those. I'm not a fan of these lightning style tail pieces. I'll either get a straight bar if I can find a quality one. I know they're not great for intonation, but they look cool. Or I might just, you know, do what I'll probably wind up doing. I'll get an intonatable bridge because I'm kind of a stickler for tuning. Doesn't have a pick guard. The BECK would have. Let's see here. The neck actually feels great. Bound fretboard, of course. No sharp edges, which I guess there wouldn't be. Well, no, the frets come over the binding. It doesn't have fret nibs, so no, they did a good job on the frets. I don't know enough about individual years of Les Pauls to tell you if that's an authentic looking headstock, but it looks good enough to me. What I'm guessing are fake Grover tuners. So probably wind up being changed, but you know. Styrofoam dust. Yeah, it feels good. It feels. It's probably a little, having not had a chance to put it through its paces yet, which I won't do in this episode anyhow. Of course, I'll have an actual, you know, deep dive review of this with sound examples and everything else. But just the way the neck feels. When I was turning 50, I decided I was going to buy myself. Did I already tell the story of the Les Paul? I don't know. I decided when I was turning 50, I was going to buy myself a real Les Paul because I'd never had one. And I decided on a particular model that I really liked. I went to Guitar Center, and the one I picked up, the action was, I'm not exaggerating, it was between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch off the fingerboard at the 15th fret. It was ridiculous. And the fret ends were sharp. And it was on sale for $17.99. And so I went to the other 2 local Guitar Centers. We have 3. And each location had one of this particular model. And all 3 of them had sharp fret ends and didn't play well. And this already feels better to my hand than any of those 3 genuine, authentic Les Pauls that I tried. I didn't wind up buying a Les Paul for my birthday. I just abandoned the whole idea after that. And I just didn't. So, a funny story. Wow, I'm kind of looking forward to getting into this. I want to take some lemon oil to the fingerboard. It looks a little dry. Of course, it could also be a different kind of wood. You know, that new stuff that they're using on Gibsons, Indian Laurel, I can't stand it. I mean, it might feel just like mahogany, but it literally looks like completely dried out mahogany that's like dusty and powdery. I don't like it. I'm hoping this is something else that'll get dark when it's, you know, moisturized. So, yeah, not much more I can say until I've done a deep dive, but I'm pretty duly impressed at this point, especially a $300 price point. I don't know if maybe that was a special price I got because I was referred by Jeff or what, but I do know the ones that he lists on AliExpress all have list prices of like $349, which, you know, still isn't a huge difference. Wow. Well, anyway, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm actually going to try tuning this up. I'll probably have to put on some new strings. And in my experience, they use some really bad counterfeit strings on a lot of these things. You wouldn't think strings would be counterfeited, but you'd be wrong. And while I'm doing that, I can like tighten up the screws and the collars on the tuners, because I find that that's, even on factory-made guitars, for some reason those always are loose, and that can affect tuning and whatnot. So I want to give this every possible chance to play well as is before I start swapping stuff out. But it's not exactly a Jeff Beck, but it's pretty cool looking. It feels good. Fingers crossed that it plays and sounds good too. So guess we'll find out. So I guess that's all that I have to say about that. As usual, I'll say to like this video or dislike it. At least you're responding, right? Make some comments. Subscribe. Click on the bell for notifications. Above anything else, some comments, about this. If you have some other ideas for shows, other things you'd like me to order, it's not like I can just do it anytime, but I mean, the generosity of some of the viewers has been overwhelming, and I'm sure that they, might be again. Some of them could help. For that matter, if you want to help, my PayPal email address is rickenbackeranonymous@gmail.com, which coincidentally is also the email address you can reach me at if you wanted to discuss something at length or whatever the case might be. Again, rickenbackeranonymous@gmail.com. So until next time, keep on rocking, stay cool, chime on, and stay frosty. I'll see you hopefully in another week. Alrighty? I'm out.